When I heard some kid on the internet saying they made 90%, I would want proof. So I understand that, and here's your proof. Last year, 90%. I will also show you my annualized return so you don't think I had one good year. My max return, annualized, 54%.
That is better than 99% of all hedge funds.
I know a piece of information that maybe you don't know, and maybe I can help you understand that.
I do not care how old you are, there is something in this video that you will benefit from, and I guarantee your returns will go up.
So this whole video will be dedicated to giving a couple of lessons, key lessons that I've learned while investing that have helped me increase my percentage in my annualized return.
Now, what's my edge above all of these hedge funds? Well, I load up on disruptive tech before it pops. I bought Palantir at $9 a share. I bought SoFi at $4 a share. I bought MicroStrategy at $50 a share. And now I'm loading up on a shit ton of Tesla. And I buy this stuff when there's blood in the streets. I buy it when everyone's panicking. And I also buy it before anyone sees the future of the company. That's my edge. In other words, I buy when there's blood in the streets, when fear is at an all-time high. So let's take 2020 for an example. We were in a huge market uptrend, correct? Suddenly, we had a huge flash crash down because everyone thought the world was ending with the COVID, right? There was a huge amount of fear. What did this present? A huge buying opportunity for your disruptive tech assets that you could enter into. Quicker than you know it, we have a V-shaped recovery and markets are at all-time highs. Same thing in 2023. Everyone thinks, oh my gosh, we're in a huge correction. We're going to have a recession. The market's going to go down further. Fear is at an all-time high. What do we get? NVIDIA under $100. All of these big disruptive tech assets at insanely undervalued prices. You buy when there's fear, when there's blood in the streets, and everyone thinks the world is going to end. Next thing we know, markets are at another all-time high, correct? Okay, now I'm gonna give my top 3 lessons, going from least important to most important. Number 1, gonna be patience. Most people don't know a single one of these or know them, but don't practice them. And it's absolutely key to use these in your investing. Patience. Patience is key. So Warren Buffett himself said, the whole stock market game is transferring assets from the impatient to the patient. And that is very much true. If you think about it, when you make, every single time, I'm sure you've all done this, you've made multiple moves in a day, it overall just dilutes your returns rather than holding the asset all the way through. And it's the same thing with the bigger picture. When you get these small market downturns and then you sell, you try to buy, it ends up diluting your returns every single time rather than just holding strong, holding through in your high conviction plays, which we've talked about. Okay, 2, data over emotion, correct? You never want to use emotion. I'm sure you've all heard about terms like FOMO, buying into other people's greed. Let's say a stock pumps up like 50%, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get in, right? I'm sure you've all heard this. Every single time you're gonna get screwed. Why? Because you didn't look at the data and fundamentals of the company. Maybe the company is actually really weak, but it's just getting hyped up by a bunch of people on Reddit. You're gonna get screwed every single time. Look at GameStop. A lot of people got screwed on that one too, because they didn't actually, they just saw the stock pumping up every single day during that whole meme cycle rally, right? And they got screwed at the end of the day. Hey team, so I'm currently editing the video, and I thought a very important subject I need to touch on regarding emotion, and that is media headlines. So, I'm sure you've all seen media headlines for Bitcoin. Maybe during the bear market, it was saying, wow, Bitcoin's never going to recover. There's negative headlines coming out every single day. Same thing with anything performing poorly. However, when it's performing great, you see all of these headlines. Wow, this is up 5% today. This is up 10% today. This company's doing great, right? However, we need to understand the media is just pushing out emotions and making profit off of you for their news stories. Everything is controlled by the business cycle. Nothing is controlled by these headlines and whatever they're spewing out. So I just want to get that clear regarding emotions. Look at the actual business cycle and how the economy is doing. For general economy health, the same thing with companies. Look at the company health. Do not listen to any of these news headlines. 3, this is absolutely the most important, and that's conviction over diversification. Conviction is absolutely key in your investing. That is the most important thing you should have. Type conviction over diversification. Warren Buffett himself said, diversification is protection against ignorance. And that is true. Diversification, what it really is buying multiple assets because you don't know truly which ones are going to perform. Why not pick very high conviction stocks that you've done countless hours of research? That is key. Using your data from Rule 2, correct? You are absolutely sure this company is going to do the things you think and outperform every other company. Why would you diversify with 50 different companies when you know that's not the correct thing to do? It's because you're not sure. You need to have conviction in all of your trades. So I'd rather have 5 assets over 50 any day of the week. 5 any day of the week. I'm telling you, 5 high conviction assets that I know will perform, that's gonna have much better returns. That's probably the most important thing that got me to 90% last year. Out of everything else I did, that was it. Because diversification, at the end of the day, diversification dilutes returns, period. I want to end this with a little bit of storytelling because I think this is what's going to wrap it up. This didn't happen overnight. This took 6 years. I've been trading, investing since middle school, 7th grade. 6 years now. I've made an insane amount of mistakes. I have learned from all of them, and I have built this over time. I'm not just some lucky kid, okay? I want to get that straight. Second of all, I want to use a little bit of an example. In 7th grade, I got into this company called Neo. It's like the Chinese version of Tesla. I saw huge potential. I wrote it up from $3 a share. I saw it before anyone else, just like all my other things I do. And I rode that up to $60 a share. I didn't have these foundations. I didn't take profits, and I sold at $20 a share. I still made a giant profit, but it's things like that. From experience and learning, that's how you're gonna learn. But I hope this video really helps you get a foundation on the principles to succeeding, because I know this is the information that will get you to that next step to have better returns. But you're still going to need to learn step by step by step, if that makes sense. To finalize, I have a Discord. I share all of my moves and allocations for completely free. I also do trading on there, so it's also free. If you want to join and learn more, I have over also 30 lessons on there of how I invest. Feel free to join if you want. It's completely free. I'll see you guys in the next video.